Okay, so long-term care planning,
Yeah.
not really something most of us want to like think about, right?
Right.
But we're going to dive into it today.
We are.
It's important. We've got a guide for financial professionals,
Okay.
all about long-term care strategies,
Interesting.
focusing on hybrid life insurance.
Okay.
It's for professionals, but honestly, there's a lot in here for everyone.
I think you're right.
So we're going to break it down, make
Yeah.
it easy to understand,
That's good.
so you can make informed decisions about your future,
Exactly.
planning for your future.
Yeah.
So this guide, it starts off with this kind of scary statistic, actually.
Right. Yeah.
70%
Wow.
of people over 65 are going to need some kind of long-term care.
That's a lot.
That is a lot, yeah.
And only 11% have insurance for it.
11%.
It's a big gap between need
Yeah.
and preparedness.
Huge gap.
Yeah.
Okay, so 70%.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know long-term care is expensive.
It is.
What kind of costs are we talking about?
So think about a private room in a nursing home.
Okay.
Over $8,800 per month.
Whoa.
Home health aid, over $4,500 a month.
Oh, man. That's a lot.
And it's only going to go up.
Yeah, this guide says it's projected to double
Double
in
up.
the next 20 years.
It's pretty scary.
Yikes. That's
Yeah.
that's frightening.
Imagine trying to cover those costs, like out of pocket.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
That would wipe out savings so fast.
exactly.
So self-funding is probably not the best option.
Not really.
A lot of people think, oh, Medicare will take care of it.
Right.
But that's not really true, is it?
No, Medicare, it mostly covers short-term care,
Yeah.
like skilled nursing or rehab after a hospital stay.
So not for ongoing long-term needs.
No.
What about Medicaid?
Medicaid does cover some long-term care,
Okay.
but it's needs-based.
Right.
You need to have very limited income and assets
Got it.
to qualify for it.
Okay, so self-funding is risky. Government programs have limitations.
Yeah.
What are our options? What does this guide recommend?
Well, that's where this hybrid life insurance comes in.
Okay, tell me more.
So it's permanent life insurance,
Okay.
but it has a built-in long-term care rider.
Okay, break that down for me.
Sure.
What is a long-term care rider?
So it's like extra protection
Got it.
within your life insurance policy.
Mm-hmm.
If you need long-term care, this rider
Yeah,
lets you access part of your death benefit.
while you're still alive.
Yes, to cover those expenses.
Interesting. So you get the death benefit for your loved ones
Exactly.
if you pass away.
Right?
But you can also use some of that money
Mm-hmm.
for your own care if you need it while you're still here.
Exactly. It's like a 2-for-1.
Yeah, I like that.
It also helps you avoid draining your savings
Okay.
to pay for care, which means
Yeah,
you can protect your assets and leave more for your heirs.
that makes sense.
And one of the best things about it
Yeah.
is that the long-term care benefits
Okay.
you get from this rider are generally tax-free.
Tax-free. That's a big deal.
It is, especially with those huge care costs.
Absolutely.
And another benefit,
Okay.
it has flexible premiums.
Oh, okay.
You can
Yeah,
adjust your payments
that's helpful.
if your financial situation changes.
Yeah, things happen.
They do. Life is unpredictable.
It is.
You know, this guide also mentions that a lot of long-term care isn't actually provided by professionals.
That's right.
It's provided by unpaid family members.
It is, and that's a huge responsibility
Yes.
for
Why
those
not?
family members.
Yeah.
A lot to ask of anyone.
It is. Taking care of someone it's demanding,
It is.
physically and emotionally demanding.
Right.
And not to mention, the financial strain.
Yeah.
People might have to quit their jobs
Absolutely.
or cut back on hours to become caregivers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this guide actually gives a dollar amount to that. The average lifetime loss in wages
Wow.
and benefits for caregivers is over $303,000. $303,000?
Yeah.
That's a huge hit.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And, let's be real.
Yeah.
Most of these caregivers are women.
2/3 of caregivers are women.
Wow. So
It's a lot.
is women who are already juggling jobs and kids.
And maybe even their own aging parents
Exactly.
on top of everything else.
And then you add caregiving on top of that.
Yeah.
That's
Or a recipe for burnout.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. This guide really highlights how long-term care impacts everyone,
It does.
not just the person who needs the care.
everyone involved.
Yeah. And that's why planning ahead is so important.
Exactly.
Taking care of yourself, easing the burden on your loved ones.
It's really important.
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the financial strain,
Right.
the impact on families. But there's another part of this puzzle
Okay.
that this guide dives into.
All right.
Underwriting.
Underwriting. Yeah.
Now, I'll admit, That
I
word
know.
makes my eyes glaze over a little bit.
I get it.
But it's crucial.
It is when it comes to long-term care insurance.
So essentially, it's how insurance companies
Right.
decide if you're eligible for coverage
Exactly.
and how much your premiums will be. So they're trying to, like,
Yeah,
figure out how likely you are to actually need long-term care.
they are. They look at things like your age,
Okay.
your health history, your lifestyle,
Makes sense.
even your family history.
So, like, if you're a smoker
Right.
or have a family history of heart disease, you might be considered higher risk.
Exactly.
So they might charge you more.
Or even deny you coverage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just about how long you're going to live,
Right.
but also how likely you are to get sick and need care down the line.
Exactly.
This is where pre-existing conditions can really make a difference.
They can.
Like if you have a history of heart disease or cancer.
It might make it tougher to get insurance.
So this is why planning early is so important.
It is.
Before any major health issues come up.
Exactly. The earlier, the better.
This guide really stresses that long-term care needs can come up at any age.
They can.
Did you know the youngest person to file a claim for long-term care benefits was only 18 years old?
18.
18.
You never know.
You really don't.
What can happen?
Accidents, illnesses, disabilities.
They can happen at any time.
Don't discriminate. Nope. Based on age.
This guide highlights the top 3 reasons for long-term care.
Okay.
Alzheimer's, circulatory issues, and injuries.
Yeah, we can't prevent everything.
No, we can't.
But planning can give you peace of mind,
It can.
knowing that you're prepared
Absolutely.
if something unexpected happens.
All about being prepared.
It is, and that's a good place to take a quick break.
That sounds good.
Let all that sink in.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
We'll be back. So, it can feel kind of heavy.
It does, yeah.
All this talk about long-term care and costs But the good thing about this guide is it offers advice
Okay.
for different stages of life.
Oh, it's good, yeah.
Yeah, it's not just for retirees or anything.
Right.
Like they have a section for what they call up-and-comers.
Up-and-comers?
Yeah, like people in their 20s and 30s.
Oh, okay.
Just starting out.
Got it.
And for them, the main message is, think about this stuff early.
Yeah, I mean, you're young, you're healthy.
Exactly. You're thinking long-term care, that's forever away.
Right, exactly.
But accidents happen,
They do.
unexpected illnesses, and getting coverage when you're young and healthy.
Right, it's got to be cheaper then.
Way cheaper and easier.
Makes sense, yeah.
It's like any other insurance, really.
Right.
The younger and healthier you are,
Yeah.
the less risky you are to insure.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What about people like me?
Yeah.
A little further along,
Okay.
starting families, building careers.
Young breadwinners,
Yeah, the young breadwinners.
they have a section for that too.
Okay, what do they say?
Well, it's all about protecting your family,
Okay, yeah.
If something happened to you, you wouldn't want your kids to be burdened
Oh, absolutely not.
with caregiving later on.
No, that's a lot to ask.
It is, and it's not just the caregiving itself. It's
Yeah.
the financial side too.
Yeah, the costs can be huge.
Exactly.
And you don't want to, derail their lives.
That drain their savings.
Yeah, exactly.
So for them, it's about protecting their family's future
Okay.
as well as their own.
That makes sense.
And then you have the retirement planners.
Retirement planners, okay.
People in their 40s and 50s
Yeah,
thinking about retirement.
right. That's when you really want to protect those savings.
Exactly. You've worked hard your whole life.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose it all to long-term care costs.
No, absolutely not.
So the guide suggests
Right.
looking into long-term care insurance as a way to safeguard that money.
So you can actually enjoy retirement.
Exactly. Maintain your independence and not be a burden on your family.
Right.
So they cover a lot of different ages and stages.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
It does.
Is there ever a point where it's too late?
It's never too late to start planning.
Okay.
They even have a profile for last chance qualifiers.
Last chance qualifiers. Whoa.
Yeah, people in their 60s and early 70s.
So even if you're close to retirement.
It's still worth looking into.
Wow. Okay, that's good to know.
It is.
This guide really emphasizes
It does.
having those real conversations.
With yourself and your loved one.
Right.
Yeah.
It even has a whole section on making it personal.
Making it personal. Yeah.
That was a really powerful section, I thought.
It was. It talks about
Yeah.
sharing personal stories.
Yeah, because sometimes it's easy to get caught up.
Prison numbers.
Yeah. And forget we're talking about real people's lives.
Exactly. Real people.
The guide asks, have you ever known anyone who needed long-term care?
Yeah.
How did it affect them and their family?
Powerful questions.
They are, Because when you think about someone
Right.
who went through this,
It becomes real.
it does. It hits home.
Yeah.
It also makes you think about the impact
Mm-hmm.
on potential caregivers.
Yeah. Like your spouse or your child.
Exactly, having to provide that care.
Round the clock.
Yeah, how that affect their life,
Your job, their family.
their own health.
Exactly. It's a lot to consider.
It is, and it makes you realize why having a plan is so important.
It does. It's about taking care of yourself,
Right.
but also respecting the people in your life.
So you're not burdening them.
Exactly. You don't want to burden them unnecessarily.
Yeah, you don't.
And, one thing that really stood out to me
Yeah.
was the statistics about caregiver burnout.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we know it's tough,
Yes.
but the numbers are like really eye-opening.
What do you mean?
Well, caregivers often end up sacrificing their own financial security.
Right, yeah.
We talked about the lost wages and benefits.
Over $303,000.
Right. But there's more to it than that.
Like what?
Well, they might have to turn down promotions,
Okay, yeah.
pass up job opportunities.
To provide care?
Exactly. Or even dip into their own retirement savings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a huge sacrifice.
It really is.
And it's not just the money either.
Right.
It affects their health, too.
Yeah, the stress.
Exactly. They're more likely to experience depression, anxiety, even chronic illnesses.
That's a lot.
It is. So it's not just about the individual needing care. It's
Yes.
about the whole family.
It's about the whole support system.
Exactly. And having those conversations early.
Before a crisis hits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about making those informed decisions.
So everyone's on the same page.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about the financial strain, the impact on families, the conversations.
Right.
Now we need to unpack underwriting.
Underwriting.
I always feel like when I hear that word,
Yeah.
it's going to be complicated.
It can be, but it's important to understand.
Okay, break it down for me.
So basically, it's how insurance companies
Yeah.
assess your risk and decide whether to give you coverage
Okay,
and how much to charge you for it.
got it.
So they're looking at all sorts of factors.
Like what?
Your age, obviously,
Yeah.
your health history,
Right.
your lifestyle, family history.
Rough sky, okay.
Yeah, like, do you smoke?
Oh, okay.
Are you a daredevil? That kind of thing.
Interesting.
Even your driving record.
Wait, driving record?
Yeah, if you have a history of accidents,
Okay.
it suggests you might be more likely.
To have an injury.
Exactly, and need long-term care.
Interesting. I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's all about assessing risk.
Okay, so if I have a history of heart disease or cancer,
It could affect your eligibility. Okay.
and your rates.
Makes sense.
So, again, planning early is key.
Before any of those things pop up.
Exactly.
Okay, so how common is it for someone young and healthy to get denied coverage?
It's not as common as you might think.
Yeah.
Insurance companies are getting more flexible these days.
Really?
They're realizing that
Yeah.
long-term care needs can arise at any age.
Okay, that's good to hear.
It is.
But I'm guessing pre-existing conditions can still be a hurdle.
They can be, but even then,
Yeah.
it's worth exploring your options.
Okay.
There might be ways to mitigate that risk
Right.
and find a policy that works for you.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Speaking of pre-existing conditions,
Yeah.
there's this crazy fact in the guide.
Okay.
The youngest person to file a claim
Mm-hmm.
for long-term care benefits
Yeah.
was only 18 years old.
18.
18.
Wow.
It really shows you this
Yeah.
isn't just an old people issue.
Right. It can happen to anyone
Exactly.
at any time.
The guide talks about the top reasons for those claims: Alzheimer's,
Yeah.
circulatory issues,
Mm-hmm.
and injuries.
Yeah, we think of long-term care for aging,
Right.
but accidents and illnesses, they don't discriminate.
Nope.
It's a good reminder
It is to be prepared.
to be prepared.
Yeah.
All right, so we've covered a lot
Nev.
about long-term care, the costs, the impact on families.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah,
It is.
it's so important.
It is. And, this guy doesn't just leave us hanging.
No.
He gives us some
Yeah.
something to think about.
Okay.
It asks this really thought-provoking question, and I want to pose it to our listeners.
Okay.
If you had to rely on someone else for care,
Mm-hmm.
who would it be?
That's a good question.
And how would it impact their life?
It makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. Who would be there for you
Yeah,
if you couldn't take care of yourself?
right. Your spouse, your kids,
Your siblings, your
your
friends,
neighbors, and how would it affect them?
their jobs, their families.
Yeah, their own health.
Exactly.
It could be a huge burden,
It could, emotionally and financially,
and it's a burden we can lessen
by planning ahead.
by planning ahead.
Exactly. It's about taking control.
Taking control of our future.
Right, making sure you have the resources you need.
Your support.
And it's about respecting our loved ones, too.
Absolutely.
Not putting them in a difficult position.
Yeah. And this guide, it actually has some really great resources.
It does.
Links, contact info.
For financial professionals.
Yeah, people who specialize in this stuff.
Exactly. So if you're feeling lost
Or overwhelmed,
reach out, get some help.
there are people who can guide you.
There are.
Knowledge is power, right?
Absolutely. The more you know,
Yeah.
the better decisions you can make.
And that's what it's all about, making informed decisions.
Exactly.
So thank you for joining us on this deep dive
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
into the world of long-term care planning.
It's not the most fun topic,
No, it's not.
but it's so important.
It is. And we hope you found it informative, insightful, and maybe even a little bit empowering.
A little bit.
So until next time,
Take care.
keep exploring, keep learning,
And keep planning.
and keep diving deep.
We'll see you next time.